and welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're here with another episode of Free Pattern Friday. Yay, Free Pattern Friday! And today we're going to show you Thornbush. This is one very old, fun foundation paper piece block that uses up all our tiny little scraps. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And this pattern, the PDF, is going to be in the show notes below. It does finish at a 6.5 inch unfinished, 6-inch finished. So, you know, if you're looking for one of those blocks, you can grab it down in the show notes. But first I want to talk to you about Karen from Warped Spinster. Now, her YouTube channel is in the show notes below. And if you love modern quilting and the idea of that conscious stream of what decisions are being made and all this stuff, you will love her work. Like, her videos are just great because she talks about how you go about making the decisions to change things within a modern quilt. And she also works a lot with crumbs and scraps and that too. And her stuff, her blocks are just stunningly beautiful when they're done. So go check her out. Tell her that Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you, and you know, it'll be a nice little surprise shout out for her. The other thing in the show notes you're going to find is our Facebook group. Yes, it's growing rapidly. We are having fun sharing pictures, but we're making use of the Facebook rooms. So we basically have a virtual sew date, you know, 24/7. And we have people signing on in the middle of the night, you know, sewing with other people. And you never know who you're going to meet. And it is an international community that's there. It's not just Canadians or Americans. It's, you know, everybody's in there. If you got a sewing machine and you want to hang out, even if you don't sew or don't want to sew, but, you know, say you're crocheting or knitting, yeah, come on in. It'll be fun. The other thing will be our Zoom sew dates. That's a link that happens once a month. And just mark it down on your calendar so you know when they're coming, so you can get ready for a fun sew date with myself and many other people from around the world. It's a lot. It's just it's just too much fun. So that's all the stuff for all the people that haven't been here before. So if you're just discovering me now, please like, share, and subscribe. Over half of you are not yet subscribed, and that's, I mean, it is what it is, right? But if you could tell your friends about us, or, you know, tell your guilds. We're also doing free speaking engagements for the guilds right now to help them out after the pandemic, because some of their memberships are down and some of them weren't active during the pandemic at all. So come on in, let's get to this sewing. Okay, so here we are at the sewing machine. Now, traditionally, I think this one would have been done in greens and browns, right? Just because it kind of lends itself those colors. You can do whatever color you want. And it looks daunting because it's 23 pieces, but it's not as bad as you think, right? It's not as bad. No, I can't imagine them sewing this by hand. So I think they're piecing the pennyweight subunits here would have been, you know, probably, you know, larger. But I thought, ooh, let's do something really cool, really graphic, and we'll get all of this done in a hurry. So we have 3 pieces essentially that go together. So this block will go together like that. So the middle piece is on the bottom, laying on the bottom, right? So it kind of forms a brown, like brown, and then a white piece there. So without further ado, let's just start. And I think this is a 2.5 inch piece that we need, probably closer to 3. So let's go 3.5. What we're going to do is we're just going to go 3.5. 1, 2, 3 and a bit. And just like this, just rough cutting the brown, because you need browns right away, right? You need 4 of them. So this is probably 1.5 inches. So let's go a little bit bigger. Not that big. Yeah, we can get away with this. Okay. And another piece there. I could throw that in there. And I'll probably need another piece off the end of this, but that's okay. So we're just going to get 4 pieces of brown right away. And it doesn't matter, that one will work. So I've got 4 pieces of brown. So the first piece comes out of here is white. Now, we could go bright whites, we could go orangey, whatever we could do, right? I mean, basically what you're going to do is you're going to cut out a piece that's approximately the size that you need. And a little bigger is okay. That's all right. That's always okay. That is always fine if it's a little bigger. So the first one here is this. So you line it up so you've got good coverage. Now I've already done my tracing wheel trick, and you can see the marks on the back. The tracing wheel is left. So I'm just going to move this over and let's see, line it up. Oh, it goes the other way. Oh, okay. Sure, line it up so it's like good 1/4 inch on either side and down like so. Flip this over and make my first sewing line. There you go. There. Right along that piece. Now, what happens next is you want to do brown and little pieces. You want to do very tiny pieces. So you take something a little larger. I've got nothing. I took out all my smaller crumbs of white to do this, and now I'm left with smaller bits, but that's okay. I'm just going to roll through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 4. I need 8. There we go. Just going to cut these in half, just like so. Just rough cutting. Just that's all you need to worry about right now is rough cutting this. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay this across, and whatever side you start working on first, which is the other side, of course. Of course it is. Of course it would be. You're going to lay it so that you have a good 1/4 inch coverage where 1 and 4 meet, because you don't want to be trimming that one too much. And now you're going to put a little pin. I know I tell you guys not to pin, but here we go. This is where we are. And we're going to just move up this 2 and just trim it so I know where to put my, just so I know where to put my triangle, right? That helps. That just helps out making stuff a little easier. And while I'm there, I might as well do the other side, right? The other side of the picket is kind of a, there we go. And so 2 goes on this side. So I want that to be there. And there we go. And you go just a 1/4 inch past and you stop, right? So there. Now the next one, oh, I'm going to use this. 1/4 inch past. There we go. 1/4 inch pass. Yes, we got it. And I'm just going to slide it down just a hair, just so I got good coverage. And I'm going to put a pin in again, just so I can trim my 2 and 3 right away, so I have a good idea as to where that line needs to be. Now I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I think what I'll do is I'll do half, and then you guys, once you get the hang of how to make the pennyweight subunits, then we can cut to, you know, the end and do our ta-da moment. Because once you get the idea of what's here and what it takes to do the pennyweight subunits on this, it's really easy. This is a really easy block to do. Okay, lay it out. Move it forward. There we go. Okay, there. And make sure nothing has flipped. That would be good. Okay, now I have marked these so that I know exactly what color comes next, right? So there. So I'm just pressing that out. So I'm going to put 3 on the other side because I've got 2 pieces on already. Okay. So we'll just clip this off a little bit. Now I intentionally picked something that was a little orangey red because I think it would look cool to have an orangey red bit in the middle. So here we're just going to run that through. This piece is done very quickly because it's only got a few moving parts. And I say moving parts with some laughter going on here. Okay, so now we just push this out of the way. There we go. Let me get all the other stuff off of here. And now we want to stay kind of high on this. We don't want to go down too far. Okay, so you want to go down far enough on the piece. It's an oversized piece, that triangle that you're putting on, so it's all fine. Okay. There, we'll get rid of that blue. Okay. Now, put an oversized piece there, and we're a little higher than we need to, but that's okay. And just check, I'm sure nothing has split. And a 1/4 inch pass, your sew line, and then you do all of this again. Now, it doesn't matter which one you do next, because this is a symmetrical piece, right? So 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I mean, it's however, you have to pick one of these. And then you pick, one of these, right? I mean, it's not, mission critical that you must have only this going on. And if I'm going to trim a block like this, I'm going to trim all 4 sides at once, so it's just easy peasy to get it done. There, nice. And get the other side right away. Because once this is done, you can kind of, trim it up and trim it down to the outer edge of the seam allowance, and it looks great. Okay, now all of that stuff there goes like this. Okay, so now I'm going to start on this side because we're going to follow the numbers today. We're going to follow the numbers because people have said when I do this they get confused. And yeah, I know we get confused. It's okay. It's okay. Alright. And we just sew on 4. And okay. Now this is done. So the rest of this block now becomes, again, symmetrical. So I chose to go 4, 5, 6, going out this way first, and then this way. It's up to you which way you decide to work. I mean, I'm going to trim this so that it will be ready for when we start the other side. But this is basically your penny weights. We did penny weights and people didn't understand what penny weights were used for. This is basically a feathered edging on sashing, is what we're doing here, right? But okay, let's get this trimmed up nice. There we go. We've got good coverage. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for good coverage. And there. So the next piece goes on is going to be green, and it's going to be on this side. Now, I'm leaving this green really big for a reason, because you trim it off and you can reuse it. You can reuse the piece. Okay. Now, again, just prepping this, get it all ready. Oops, here we go. And there we go, and put that down. Okay. So this is the side we're working on, this side here, just to keep track of where I am, because yeah, that's always good to know. I'm going to pick, ooh, this lovely little piece. I don't like the fringe on it, the pinked edge, because there's a pinked edge on it, right? So I'm just going to trim it off. I got this, I don't know where, but it's like, oh, pinked edges. I'm not a big fan of pinked edges. If I'm going to pink something, I want to do it myself, because then I know exactly where I've pinked it. Okay, now back to the side here, and put the other half on here, and the fabric goes that way. There we go. And so now we've got our first piece right off that pinked edge. So I'm just going to put this as flat as I can, and I'm going to press this, move this up. Oh, I didn't, for some reason I missed putting in my markings. So I'll have to correct that right away. These markings also help you tear off the paper. Now I hear some ladies are buying newsprint paper, and that's actually really good to use as well for this. Oh, and okay. Now, okay, let's go back to where we were. Okay, so now I'm going to put in number 5, and I'm just going to fold this over so that I get a sharp point. Now you want to break that little bit there that's going on, and you want to start with a white. There. Now, you would hold on to this. You don't throw this one out, right? Because you're going to use it again. And I have a choice of putting like really cool duck fabric in, or you want to pick something with tiny, tiny print, or like a little posy or white or whatever. You don't want to go with something like this, because this is too big, it's too dark, you know, so you want to try something. Let's go with the duck. Let's go with the duck. See how far the duck takes us. So now we want to just lay the duck this way. So we have a good 1/4 inch here and a good 1/4 inch there, which we do. So you're going to use the duck print a bit. Okay. All right. And now you're just going to sew up that line between 5 and 4. Okay. Now we get to this. Okay. Hopefully I did this one. Yes, I did. Okay. No. So for this, because the pieces are so narrow, you want to take, you know, smaller prints, right? So I'm going to put that little blue posy in there and go again right up between 5 and 4. Okay, now okay, 6. Oops. 6 is where? This side. Okay. Now, what you've got here is the line goes straight up and down, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this line all flat. And yes, by all means, you can press in between if you want. I'm just doing this for speed. I've got little red ducks with green fabric. And now I take the other piece, right, of fabric, and I saw off that pinked edge. And just trim it off real quick. Quick like a bunny. And I have a nice piece there that I can use. That's going to go right across. So you don't throw it out, right? And you would keep reusing it, you know, on a piece, and you could use it more than one time, because my green pieces are getting a little big, but that's okay. That's okay. You know, you just keep reusing it. So, okay, 5 and 6, turn it over. There. Let me pull that out, just like so. There we go. Now, you would take this piece and the larger scale size. There we go. Nice, nice coverage on both sides. So what you're going to do is basically keep using bits that end up on different sides of the block, right? Okay. And there. I'm just going to finish off this piece here. And we'll finish off, I'll show you how to do finishing off this piece with the stay stitching and everything. So that's important on this block, because half of the blocks are going to be all, yeah, just like that. So now, as you're going between 6 and 7, you have to make your mind up whether that piece is big enough that you're going to cut off to go on the other side, because it can be added in a couple more times, right? Is it big enough? Why, yes, it is big enough. Why, yes, it is big enough. It's just big enough. So I can either put a piece of white through here, like a blue. The blue and white would go really nicely in here. And I think that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to put the blue and white in. But this piece can go on the other side, right? Because it is big enough. And you know it's long enough, right? So now, okay, 6 and 7. And now this one is questionable because we're not sure. Sometimes when you're doing this foundation paper piecing, you don't really know. The nice thing about pickets is that they're so thin. You know, like you probably do have just enough. You gotta have coverage on both sides. Yes, you do. You have a 1/4 inch on both sides, so that's something that we can use on the other side. So now we put this down, and we're going to go 6 and 7. Okay. Before I take off the paper, before I do anything with this, before I haven't even pressed this, I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to stitch within the seam line. That means I'm going to stitch between these two lines here, and I'm just going to go all the way around just to make sure it doesn't stretch when I take it off. Okay. Oops. All right. Now, turn it. Pivot with the needle down. Oops. Okay, make sure that's lying flat. Make sure these corners are lying flat. Yes, they are. Okay. And right off. There we go. Now I am going to change the numbering a bit on this, just because I can. I'm going to put this piece right in right now, right? so that I can make sure that this stays flat, because, you know, having your work stay flat is good. So I'm just going to put this in right here. Just draw that line between 1 and 14. Okay, and draw the other line. There, move this out of the way. There we go. And I'm going to put this here. Just so I have it, it's all done. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Right? There we go. Okay, so I think you kind of got the idea of what we're doing here, right? So we want to keep making this kind of a thing. Now, what you could do is once this gets too out of whack, you could start from the other side. I mean, that works too. And we'll just take you to show you what we're talking about. So when you're working from this side, right, it gets askewed, right, like this. So what you can do is now start working from this side, right? So when you lay it down, you can put this side down first. So I've got a bit of stuff here. So now I'm just going to go digging through my pile for another unpinked edge. Unpinked edge, yes. I'm going to do both sides at once. I think that would be good. Okay, I don't want this video to go too long, but you kind of get the idea. It's a lot of little piecing, right? When you're doing pickets. And a picket's a really lovely way to have a feathered block. So I will cut now, and I'll come back when we do the ta-da moment, because then you'll see all of this done at one time. Okay. Okay, so here's our pretty little Thornbush block. This has turned out really well with the little green thorns and a brown bush. I think if I was going to do this block again, I would go more orange or bright red or something. I'm not sure if it would look best that way or not. This came together actually for the number of pieces that are in this block, because there's 23 on each side and then 7, so that's what, 53 pieces in this one block. I mean, it turned out really well. And it does finish at 6.5 inches. Now, I didn't pin. I did not pin my center to make sure my center's lined up with my brown. So it's just a hair off. Am I going to worry about it? No. In a big quilt, you'll never see it. So I'm okay with that. And it was just, like I say, just a hair off. So when it's just a hair or a thread or two off, I don't take it apart. I leave it. I just leave it in there, because you do a lot of damage very quickly sometimes with these patterns and the fabric if you start having to take it apart multiple times. So I hope you have enjoyed this little episode here, and like I say, it didn't take long and it used up a lot of little bits. So I hope you have an absolutely amazing week in your sewing room, and when we see each other again, everything is well and you're happy. Okay, take care until then. Bye. My husband and I would love to thank you for all of the amazing people that we have met along this crazy YouTube adventure that we've been having. We do free speaking engagements too, so if you're part of a guild and they're looking for, you know, people to talk and, you know, and chat with, you know, in their monthly meetings, tell them that I'm doing free ones just to help the guilds out, because it's been a tough time for the guilds as well. You know, share, like, and subscribe with your friends. You know, make sure that they're, you know, they get the word out on us. That's the best way you can do to help us out. So until we meet again, I want to thank you. Okay, goodbye.